If this story touched your heart, we'd love to hear from you. Where in the world are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. It means so much to us. Every story we tell brings us closer, no matter how far apart we are. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because tomorrow a brand new story is coming. One that might just change the way you see the world. Join our storytelling family, and let's keep uncovering the unexpected, the emotional, and the unforgettable together. The sun was setting behind the Los Angeles skyline as a barefoot girl named Aria wandered the streets, her small hands clutching a folded piece of cardboard she used as a bed. She was only 12, but the rough pavement had already hardened her feet, and hunger had taught her to beg with a whisper rather than a cry. Her stomach ached. It had been 2 full days since she'd last eaten anything solid. With every passerby, who ignored her, her voice grew raspier, her spirit dimmer, until a woman in a shimmering blue dress stopped and turned. The woman was dressed head to toe in wealth, designer heels, diamond earrings, and a fur coat that probably cost more than Aria would ever see in her life. "Don't touch me, you little rat," she sneered as Aria gently tugged on her sleeve, hoping for a bit of kindness. "This coat is worth more than you are." The woman's words were like a slap, loud and sharp in the open air. Aria stepped back, tears burning her eyes, but she didn't run. "Please, I can clean your car, anything. I just want a piece of bread." Her voice cracked, but her tone stayed strong. The woman laughed, then called for security. "She's dangerous," she told the growing crowd. "She's probably trying to steal something." People began to stare. Some whispered. Others just took out their phones to record the moment, like it was a show. Aria's heart pounded, not just from fear, but from the sting of injustice. "You don't know me," she shouted through her tears. "You don't know why I'm here, or what I've lost." But no one listened. The woman pushed her, and Aria stumbled into a dirty puddle. Her only blanket, a soggy piece of cardboard, floated beside her in the grime. Laughter rang out from the bystanders. A security guard began approaching. Aria stood, trembling, clutching the few coins she'd begged for that day, and fled through the alleyways. By nightfall, Aria found herself behind the Sterling, one of the most luxurious restaurants in the city. The scent of grilled steak and warm bread teased her starving senses. Carefully, she rummaged through the trash bin, looking for untouched leftovers. And that's when she saw it. Through a fogged-up kitchen window, a beautiful woman in a red dress, none other than Elena Moore, wife of billionaire James Moore, stood at a counter. From her purse, she pulled a tiny glass vial. Aria's eyes widened. With steady, gloved hands, the woman poured the contents, a dark liquid, onto an elegant plate being prepped for service. Aria gasped. Poison. She had no doubt. And that's when fear turned into fire. She wasn't just a hungry kid anymore. She was the only person who saw the truth. And now, she had to stop a murder, even if no one would believe her. Aria didn't hesitate. Her thin legs sprinted across the wet asphalt, heart pounding in her chest like a drum. She had to act fast. Somewhere inside that restaurant, James Moore, the billionaire, was about to eat a meal laced with poison. And no one would believe a street kid like her. She turned the corner and spotted the restaurant's grand entrance. Its polished marble steps, golden lights, and valet drivers formed a glowing contrast against her soaked clothes and tangled hair. A tall security guard stood by the door, arms crossed and unimpressed. "Sir, please," Aria shouted as she tried to push past him. "It's an emergency. Someone inside is going to die." The guard stepped forward and blocked her. "Back off, kid. You're not allowed here." "No, you don't understand," she cried. "The woman in red, she poisoned the food. It's for Mr. Moore. Please, he's gonna eat it." The man gripped her arm firmly, dragging her away from the door. Her cries grew louder, frantic. "Let me go! I'm not lying!" People inside the restaurant turned their heads. Through the glass doors, Aria saw a waiter exit the kitchen holding the very plate she had seen moments earlier. Her blood turned cold. "No, don't serve it," she screamed. kicking and writhing in the guard's grip. She's trying to kill him. The waiter disappeared into the dining room. Inside, the soft clinks of silverware and quiet chatter filled the air. Seated at a candlelit table, James Moore adjusted his cufflinks, smiling politely as the dish was placed before him. The aroma was rich, the plating exquisite. He raised his fork, admiring the presentation. Outside, Arya broke free with a force she didn't know she had. She bolted through the doors, pushing past stunned diners and waitstaff. Chairs clattered behind her as she screamed, "Don't eat that! Your wife put poison in it!" Time seemed to slow. James froze, the fork inches from his mouth. Eyes widened. Murmurs swept through the restaurant like wildfire. Then, clink. The fork fell from his hand. "Who are you?" he stammered, face paling as confusion overtook him. Arya tried to explain, but before she could say more, his body began to shake. His breathing grew erratic. Sweat beaded on his forehead. "I told you," Arya whispered, her voice trembling as chaos erupted around her. A woman's voice cried out, dramatic, almost too loud. "Someone call an ambulance!" It was Eleanor. She rushed forward with perfect panic on her face, but Arya locked eyes with her, and in that moment, the girl saw it. The truth. There was no fear in Elena's eyes, only fury. And now, Arya knew one thing for certain. This wasn't over, not even close. The restaurant exploded into chaos. James collapsed onto the floor, convulsing violently, his limbs thrashing as diners screamed and scattered from their tables. The chandelier above swayed as people rushed for the exits. Arya dropped to her knees beside him, trying to protect his head from the cold marble, shouting at the top of her lungs. "Call 911! He's been poisoned!" A waiter froze, holding a glass of water, with shaking hands. "Should we give him this?" "No, don't!" Arya snapped. "He could choke! Roll him on his side! He needs to breathe!" A few staff members hovered, unsure whether to help or pull the strange girl away. Most were still stunned that a barefoot, dirty girl had stormed into a five-star restaurant and was now commanding the room. Suddenly, the maître d' pointed at her. "She's the one who poisoned him." "She's a street thief! I saw her outside!" "That's a lie!" Arya screamed, her voice raw. "It was his wife! She's the one who—" A firm hand clamped down on her shoulder. The security guard from earlier had returned, face red, with fury. He yanked her back, ignoring her pleas. "You've done enough. You're coming with me." James was now unconscious, his body still twitching. A woman's voice sliced through the noise, cool, elegant, almost sweet. "My God. James!" Elena knelt beside her husband, crocodile tears forming in her perfectly made-up eyes. "What's happening to him?" Arya twisted in the guard's grip. "Stop pretending. You did this. I saw you. I saw you drop something in his food." Elena turned to face her, her performance never slipping. You're just a beggar. Trying to extort a man like my husband." A murmur of agreement rippled through the bystanders. "She's lying," Arya cried, frustrated tears streaming down her cheeks. "She doesn't love him. She wants his money. She tried to kill him." Police sirens wailed in the distance. As they approached, Arya's hope flickered. Maybe now someone would listen. Maybe now the truth would matter. But when the officers stormed through the entrance, all eyes turned to her, the dirty girl in rags, now being restrained by a guard. "She burst in here, shouting nonsense," said the maitre d'. "Caused a scene, might have drugged the food herself." "She's unstable," Elena added calmly, brushing a tear away. "Dangerous even." Arya's heart sank. "No, please." She was handcuffed and dragged toward the door as James lay dying behind her. "He'll tell you," she screamed. "When he wakes up, he'll tell you everything." But no one looked at her. No one believed her. As the doors slammed shut behind her and the police car swallowed her up, Arya stared back at the restaurant, at the place where she had tried to save a man's life, and failed. For now, because Arya still had one thing left. the truth. And she wasn't going to let it die. The jail cell was cold, small, and damp. Arya sat curled in the corner, her thin arms wrapped around her knees, her thoughts racing. Her wrists still burned from the handcuffs, and the officer's words rang in her ears like a cruel echo. "You're being held for attempted murder." She hadn't even been allowed to explain. "They never even asked for my side," she whispered, "to the dark. They just looked at me and decided I was guilty." Her throat tightened. James, the man she risked everything to save, was fighting for his life in a hospital bed, and here she was, locked away like a criminal. The heavy metal door creaked open, and Arya looked up, eyes wide. A tall, middle-aged detective stepped inside, flipping through a notepad. "You're Arya Thompson, age 15, he began, not even looking at her. "No ID, no address, no guardians, just a name and a wild accusation." "It's not an accusation," she said quietly. "It's the truth." He looked at her then, one eyebrow raised. "You expect me to believe that a woman like Elena Vanderbilt, billionaire, philanthropist, tried to poison her husband?" "I don't expect you to believe me," Arya replied. "But I saw her do it, with my own eyes." The detective snorted. "You saw her poison the food? From the alley?" "I was behind the kitchen window. She thought no one was watching." Arya's voice grew firmer. She poured a dark liquid from a small bottle into James's dish. "I know what I saw. And why would she do that?" "For the money," Arya snapped, her eyes flashing with anger. "Because she's in his will. Because he's worth billions." The detective sat down, folding his hands. "You know what this sounds like. A story. A desperate story made up by a girl with nothing to lose." Arya's shoulders slumped. She was losing him, just like she'd lost the crowd. The maitre d', the police at the restaurant. Everyone always saw the same thing, a dirty, hungry street kid who couldn't be trusted. "But I didn't lie," she whispered. "I didn't make it up." The detective stood. "We'll see. If Mr. Vanderbilt wakes up and says you're telling the truth, maybe we'll talk again. Until then, you stay put." He turned to leave. "Wait," she cried, lunging toward the bars. "She'll try again. She's not finished." But the door slammed shut behind him. Arya dropped to the floor, her chest tight, her breath shaky. If James didn't wake up, she had no proof, no defense, no one on her side. She stared at the blank wall, blinking back tears. But deep down, something stirred. The same fire that had pushed her to speak out, to charge into that restaurant, to scream when no one would listen. "I'm not giving up," she whispered to herself. "I don't care how powerful she is. I'm going to find a way to stop her." And she meant every word. The cell was still and silent until the clanging of keys shattered the dark. Arya jolted awake. Her body ached from the cold floor. Young officer stood at the door, his face unreadable. "Get up. You're being released." She blinked, confused. "What? Why?" "James Vanderbilt woke up," he muttered. "He asked for you by name, said you saved his life." The words struck her like lightning. He remembered. He believed her. Moments later, Arya was escorted out of the station and into the morning light. The world looked different now, brighter, louder, but her heart was still heavy. James had survived, but Eleanor was still free. They wouldn't keep her locked up for long. Not someone with her money, her influence. She took a shaky breath. This isn't over. Meanwhile, inside a private hospital suite across town, James Vanderbilt sat upright, pale but alert. His eyes were sharp, his jaw clenched. "Get me the police, now," he told the nurse. "I need to make a statement." When officers arrived, James recounted everything he remembered. The pain, the confusion. And then the voice of a girl shouting, "Don't eat that! Your wife put poison in it." "She risked her life for me," James said. "She wasn't lying. And I want her protected." That same afternoon, Grace, still hiding behind her high society mask, returned to the hospital. But this time, James was ready. With quiet fury, he stared at the woman he once trusted. "You tried to kill me." Grace froze. The room filled with tension as two officers stepped inside behind her. "You're under arrest," one said. "For attempted murder." Grace turned to run, but it was too late. The handcuffs snapped shut. Outside, as Grace was being taken away in the back of a police cruiser, Aria stood across the street, watching. She saw the betrayal in Grace's eyes, the hatred, the threat. Aria knew it wasn't truly over. Later, at the hospital, James asked to see her. When she walked in, he looked at her with quiet awe. "You're the reason I'm alive." "I just did what I had to," she said, unsure how to respond. "No. You did what no one else had the courage to do," James replied. "And I want to repay that." She shook her head. "I don't want anything." "I'm not offering charity," he said. "I'm offering you a life, a real one." Tears filled her eyes. "You'll stay here for now. Get cleaned up, rest, eat. Then we'll figure out what's next, together." Aria nodded slowly. For the first time in years, she felt safe. But in the shadows, Grace's chilling words echoed in her mind. This isn't over. And deep inside, Aria knew Grace would come back for revenge. And when she did, they'd have to be ready. If this story moved you the way it moved us, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done if you were in Aria's shoes? Do you think justice was truly served? Or is the danger far from over? Tell us where you're watching from. We love seeing how far these stories reach across the world. Whether you're tuning in from a big city or a small town, your voice matters here. What part of Aria's journey hit you the hardest? Was it when she risked her life to warn James, or when no one believed her, and she still chose to fight for the truth? Your opinion helps shape this community, so don't be shy. Drop a comment, share your thoughts, and let us know if you'd like to see more stories like this one. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. A new powerful story is coming tomorrow, and trust us, you won't want to miss it. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest voices carry the biggest truths.